Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
So, when is it time to ask for help? I don't know when it is. I'm ANITA FINLEY, and we're going to be talking to one of my STAR interviews here, Mr. Mark Morowitz. He's a CPA. I just finished talking to a doctor, and so I'm calling everybody doctors lately now.
My mother would appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure you're a doctor of finance and a doctor that people need to talk to. Because I know from talking with you before, Mark, that people have to trust in order to talk. And they trust their doctors. And I guess they trust their CPAs. Once they get to know you, they're going to trust you, no matter what. They should. Yeah, they will. You have a nice way about you, and I'm sure that's what's going to happen. So when is it time to ask for help? Well, is there a rule book or guideline?
For what I tell people is the best time to ask for help is before the S hits the fan. You have to know it's coming, okay? When you I give people credit. They try to resolve their own issues, but if you get yourself deeper into a problem, it's time to ask somebody for help. People feel like they've failed when they ask for help. I've been there. I was there when I was young, and I understand it. My kids don't ask me for help. Everybody wants to do what they want to do. Do I have a big crowd over there?
Yeah, all of a sudden I've got 8 people.
I had dinner last night with an old high school friend, a couple of high school friends, and one guy I haven't seen in a couple of years. And he said, boy, I really like when you do your interviews. He says, you really look like you're
know what you're talking about, right?
You know what you're talking about, and you look like you're really, really, interested. And,
you are.
that you're, and I said, I appreciate that. So I said, I will be doing one tomorrow. So here I am.
Well, but here we are.
Bob, this is for you.
Right. We have somebody I don't even know, but there's a woman here. Oh, Lloyd Hasner's on here, and Gary Polk, I know him, and he's a financial person, and then Ron Rubin. Oh, my goodness, and he's a doctor. Well, okay, so you have a lot of good things to say, and I think all these people, when is it time to ask for help, but not so much even financially, but just for other things. There are people who are in bad marriages. They need help. There are people who aren't feeling well, and they don't know who to go to. I mean, help is and you're right, people are shy, they get embarrassed, or that makes them feel weak.
Well, let's go back to grade school when you would tell your teacher you didn't understand, or you don't know I don't know how to do this problem, and they'd say, figure it out. Okay, so we're instilled with that at a very young age, and you kids go home, they need some help with their homework, and did you read your assignment? Yes, then you should know how to do it. Just read the instructions and figure
right.
it out. So, as people get older, they try to figure it out. And if they don't, and I know this was a problem that I had when I was younger, if we couldn't figure it out, we thought there was something wrong with us. And so sometimes you just have to, it's okay to admit defeat on that one issue. It doesn't mean you've been defeated, okay? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You go to an expert.
Nowadays, when the kid goes to the parent, they don't even know the answers, even if they wanted to help them.
They probably never did, and that's why they said figure it out.
That's exactly right.
I got a phone call from my nephew during tax season, and he actually texted me, and he said he's doing his tax return, and he was stuck on something, and he said, "Can you tell me what to do?" And I asked him a couple of questions, and he had a complicated tax return. He's a young kid. He had a complicated tax return. It was multiple states, and which of course people don't have to deal with in Florida. And I said to him, send me your information, okay? And he said, yeah, but I'm trying to be an adult and do it by myself.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I said, this is complicated. I said, when you're an adult is when you learn how to ask for help. That's when you're being an adult. So
yeah,
that's what drove me to write this. Little story.
That's true. And this is an article you'll find in Boomer Times, and Mark writes one every month, and each one is so interesting and so good. And he always says, I don't even know what I'm going to write each time, but it just pops in your head, right? And that happens to a lot of people. But I think when it comes to money, it's even more difficult to ask for help because you don't want to share what your problems are, do you?
Most people don't. Most people, money is a private issue. But, it's like when you go to the doctor and something's bothering you, the doctor says, what's bothering you? You tell him. Otherwise, he can't help you. It's the same thing when you come to me with a financial problem. If you don't tell me what the problem is, I can't help you. And I tell people I don't like to get involved in situations where I'm going to fail. And if you don't give me the information, I'm going to fail. Therefore, I can't help. So.
And probably you uncover situations when they don't ask for help because they don't even know they need help.
Sometimes, and I bring it to their attention, and they kind of know. Most people aren't really surprised because when you have financial problems, you've had them for a while, and they just become exacerbated, and it just gets worse and worse and worse until there's only a couple of things you can do about it. So,
do you ever feel like a financial wizard?
I understand that I know more about certain things than other people. I have called myself a genius. I called myself a genius the other day
really?
on something. I did.
Now, that's pretty exciting.
I don't know why, but I forgot
can you
why.
share what it was?
I don't recall. I think I was probably half kidding around with somebody.
And you're saying, wow, I'm a genius.
Right, right. I said, just speak to the genius and something like that.
Yeah, well, it's good because a lot of times, with the fast-moving life we're all in, with the chaos and you get on the television, you get on your emails, and you get on your Facebook and all, you don't even know where you are anymore half the time. It's very difficult,
True.
And you have to really concentrate. There'll be some times that I go to bed at night and I say, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to make a list now because tomorrow morning I've got to make this 4 or 5 definite deals or definite things I'm going to do. Otherwise, you go from this to that to this and you get lost. And
Sure.
I wasn't like this before, but I'm finding it's very difficult.
I have a list of things. I put them on my whiteboard on the wall, and otherwise I'll forget to do them. So, it happens to everybody. But when you get older, the little things get pushed to the side, and you just, they take less importance. I think getting through the day as I get older becomes more important than finishing certain tasks.
Getting through the day. Well, of course, I have a dog, and the dog directs me to a lot of things. Okay, now I know he needs to eat. Now I know he needs to go out. So that's been pretty interesting about this. But I have to tell you that it's been really fun to be here with you and to definitely hear a lot of the sides that you take on different aspects. So now that tax season is over, tell me what you're involved in that keeps you so happy.
I don't know about happy, but I survived. That's what keeps me happy. I started yesterday. I started a program. I'm going to be a registered Social Security analyst. So, it's very important. This just goes hand in hand with the boomer times.
Right.
It's very important to choose to collect Social Security at the right time, whether you're single, married, or whatever. And I will be an expert in Social Security, which is interesting because when I was younger, I didn't know anything about Social Security. In fact, up until last year when I went on Medicare, I had no idea about any of that stuff. I didn't even know who to call, what to answer. People would ask me questions, and I'd have no idea. So when you are now involved in it yourself is when you start to have an interest in it. And I never realized how complicated it was.
It's funny you should mention that because at the time that my husband and I both were on Social Security, I guess he got on it sooner, we didn't need to take the money, and we should have waited, and I didn't know that. If we had waited till we were 70, we would have made a lot more money. No one told us that.
You know what? Hindsight is 20/20.
I know.
But you know what? Whether you start at 62 or start at your full retirement age, which for me is 66, or you start at 70, you have to live till you're 79. So if, I ask people, when are you going to die? And I literally put it like that to them because they ask me these questions. When should I start taking? Not that I haven't known the answers to these questions, but, the break-even point is 79. So if you start at 62, you get about 75% per month of what you would get at your full retirement age of 66.
Okay.
If you start at 70, you get an extra 32%, 8% per year in addition. Either way, if you reach the age of 79, okay, that's where you break even. Once you hit 79, it obviously is better to get the age 70 amount.
Oh,
But who knows?
I got it. I see what you're saying, because
knows?
if you add up all the money you didn't take, oh, that's what you're saying. So I won't feel so badly.
Right. So who knows? I mean, I don't know. You know,
Right.
who knows when we're going to go?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's now, of course, with the politicians talking about everybody should have this and should have that. Who knows what is even going to be left for anybody? But I'm glad that you're around, because I think what I like about you is that there are a lot of things, but one specific is that you have a lot of common sense to your answers. You know, I like that.
Interesting.
You don't just do this as a pro that just this is this and that. You kind of work around it, and you just like you did now with this. You know, you had a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But Social Security analysts, I think we need to definitely have that. When will you be licensed we can put it in here?
It's I have to do it within the year, but my plan is to do it within the month. So.
Well, I was thinking when you have your operation, you'll be
Right.
sitting around. It's a perfect thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that, because
So-
I've never had a Social Security analyst. There are
I've
people,
never heard of it. It's something new, I guess. So I might as well be
Yeah.
one. You know?
But there are people, of course, who are in finance, and they all
Yeah.
play with that, but
Right.
not someone that just does that only.
Correct.
Oh, you can still be the CPA.
Oh yeah.
Also,
sure.
it's just that
this is just an
gonna-
add-on.
Right. And I think when you get now, as a matter of fact, I do remember someone many years ago. That's how I found out about the 70. You know, about being 70 and keeping it. She was someone who dealt with it, Social Security. That's kind of what she was doing, but I don't even know. It's been many years ago.
Yeah.
And she thought that would be a good thing. And I don't know. I think she was also into finance, but it was something she wanted to specialize in. And I don't know whatever happened with that.
Yeah. Well, it's complicated, and there are choices that you have to make as married couples and single. And I realized how complicated it was when I started dealing with Medicare. You know, and you know how complicated that can be. And you have to make the right choices, because once you make those choices, you're pretty much locked in.
Funny you should say that. I will tell you something, that I was never on medication. So when I took my, had 65, and when I was doing that, I didn't want to take they offer you that opportunity, and you take a certain amount, they take out of medication.
Right.
I said, why should I do that? I don't take them. Made a mistake, because what they do is they fine you for a certain amount of money every time now that I didn't take it, and it really added up, and
Right.
it was a mistake not to do it.
Right.
So I wish someone had told me that.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, the prescription plans are not that expensive. Not
Right.
that I can put my hand in people's pockets and tell them how much things should cost. But I think when they first came out with that, which was I think maybe 10 years ago with the
Yeah.
drug plan,
Right.
I think they required. It was
Yes.
required. And,
Yes, if you don't do it, it just added up over the years,
Right.
and then
I'm
they
not-
take it out.
I'm not sure that there were. I mean, I don't think you had choices of plans. I think that you either bought the government's plan or
Right.
Or,
It's true.
right.
And I didn't buy it because I didn't take medication.
Right.
But I suffer now for it because they deducted from the Social Security.
Right.
See, so that's why a Social Security analyst, you probably would have known that. And you could have said, like you just said with Social Security, well, you do
Correct.
this, you do that, and then is it worth it?
That's what my plan is to do. So when people hit 60, 61, 62, not elderly, but those are the times they got to start thinking about the choices that they make. So
Yeah. And so that'll be good. Well, I'm glad to hear about that. You're always full of surprises, and also, and I'm glad to know that you have a foot problem that you're taking care of.
I'm going to try.
Well, that's another thing that when you said your column in our May issue said, when is it time to ask for help? I guess you had to make that decision too. When am I going to do something about this? Right?
I have. It's been a couple of years, and if you find a good doctor, it's a good doctor is the kind that says, don't do anything until it affects your life. Okay,
That's
you
true.
don't want to ever cut until
True.
Okay, and so now I make
Yeah.
my choices are I choose not to walk. I choose not to play golf. And I said, that's crazy. I want to do all this stuff again. So, it's time to get it done.
Yeah.
And we'll see. Hopefully nothing bad will happen.
That's true. It's funny you should say that because when my husband had his problem with his hip, he wanted to know, well, when should I do it? And he said, when you just feel you can't walk anymore.
Right.
And now it's different with having cataracts. Now I haven't had cataracts done, and the doctor keeps saying, well, you're needing cataracts. Well, how much do I need them? Well, you're on your way. So I say, okay, well, I'm not going to do it yet. And so, and he doesn't say, well, when you think you need it. He's pushing for me to do it, but I'm not doing it.
I frankly haven't had to have. I don't know if it gets in the way of how well you see, but that could be a problem.
Right.
You don't want to put anybody else in jeopardy either.
No, I can see. No, I see. But that's right. So you have to know the advice also. When you get the advice, is it good advice?
Well, there's nothing wrong with getting a second opinion.
Right.
And, in anything that you want to do. So, or probably a third opinion, because two opinions probably will never be the same.
It's funny you should say that. I just had, I met with a physician, as a matter of fact, who had some very serious disease, and he actually wound up going to 8 doctors. And the 8th doctor gave him something that was fabulous, and he took that advice, and it made a difference. 8.
Wow. That's unusual.
Well, yeah, it is. But maybe if you don't get the advice you want, you keep going to somebody will.
That's not. I don't know. I mean, by that time you could be dead. But,
well, it probably wasn't that serious. You could be dead. That's funny, Mark. My guest is Mark Morowitz, and he lives and works down here now. From time to time, he works up in New York.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. I don't know why I keep thinking. Oh well.
It's not far away.
No, it's not far. That's true. And so we really, he's available for consultations, and his phone number is 609-338-3903.
3603.
See, so that's why my glasses aren't good enough, so I have to get it into bigger writing.
Cataract time.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I have it in bigger writing here. I'll do it again. His cell phone is 609-338-3603. You just need larger letters, right?
That's right.
Larger letters. Do you notice, though? I don't know if you have any vision problems, but everything is so tiny. I mean, even if you look at the back of a credit card and you want to make a phone call, can't even read it. It's so teeny and tiny.
You have to have long arms. I have long arms. I'm blessed,
put them out.
I get to see them.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, but anyway, it's Mark Morowitz, Morowitz, and the phone number, his cell is 609-338-3603. And you ought to read his articles every month in Boomer Times because they're interesting. They're different. You're gonna read things there that you're not gonna read anywhere else.
Wait till you see next month's.
Oh my God!
It's already in.
Because I can't even categorize them. I don't know what's happening.
They're like thoughts off the top of my head.
That's probably a good title. Thoughts off the top of my head.
Maybe that's next month.
Right. But that is good. Well, of course, that's what we do here in the radio. You're so interesting. You know about so much. We don't even prepare. We don't prepare to do anything. Let me tell you something else that just happened. I had a doctor on the show, just interviewed, and we were talking about what older people usually die from, and he said cancer, heart disease, and the third one, hospitals. He said that, and I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the mistakes in hospitals, and it isn't happening because of certain kinds of, diseases there. It's just people make mistakes, wrong medication, or not to this or that. And I was really surprised about that. So you probably run into a lot of things that are errors. These are hospitals, but you probably, and how serious they are, I have no idea. You ever have serious errors?
Well, I don't deal in life and death situations, but, I get the phone calls that what typically happens is people will get a notice from the IRS.
Oh,
okay.
And on a Saturday, right? They go crazy.
They get it on Saturday,
right.
And they've held it.
Call Mark.
Typically the process is you get 3 notices, okay? The first notice says if you owe money or there's a problem or something like that. The first notice says there's an issue, there's a problem with your tax return. We're going to charge you $1,000. So people just kind of put that on the side. then the second notice comes a month later and it says, you owe us now $1,117. Okay? And the third notice comes and says, we're going to levy your bank account. You owe us $1,197. And they call me and they go, what's this? And I said, where's the first one? I never got anything. This is the first one I got. I said, no, it's not. So that dovetails into my, when do you ask for help? So, whether it's an embarrassment or, people get a notice from the IRS, they don't want to deal with it. So what I've trained people to do is just send it to me. Call me. Take a picture with your phone and send me a text. People don't think they have scanners at home. I don't know, a lot of older people don't know. I don't have a scanner. You have a telephone with a camera. You have a scanner. You just take a picture and text it, and I can see it instantaneously. What I do now also with people is they'll call me from their computer, and I'll say, explain to me what's on the screen. What do you see on the screen? Because sometimes I can't remote into their computer, so I say, what's on the screen? So they say, I can't really read it. Take a picture. And they take a picture, they text me the picture, and I'm looking at the same thing they're looking at, which is one of those. So that's the use of technology that helps getting out of these situations where you're afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sometimes when my printer's not working, I will go ahead and I'll take a picture of something that I need. And then in the future, when the printer works, I can, then do it.
There you go. And a lot of times, if something's not working, just turn it off and turn it on again. Yeah. Reboot it. When in doubt, reboot.
Yeah, right. Reboot. Well,
I wish we can reboot our lives sometimes, but we can't.
Oh, how do you reboot your life?
You can't. You just turn it off and buy a new one.
Turn off your life and buy a new one. All right.
Start from scratch.
Yeah. Well, you're interesting. What's the average age of most of your clients?
Probably falls within 3 ranges. There's a 70s, 80s, 90s range. Then there's a, say, 50 to 70 range. And then those people that are 50 to 70 that started with me when they were 20 and 30, now their kids are in. And so it's, it's interesting. There's not a lot of people that have gotten into the field that I'm in. It was the least paid, the lowest paid, least appreciated profession that there is.
You don't mean CPA?
Yeah, CPA.
Really?
Public accounting. Private industry, accountants in private industry, they work there 40 hours. They got paid more because they worked for a company or whatever. But when you're a CPA, I mean, I was working from 4 in the morning till 9 at night, and I work for myself. It's okay. But a lot of young people today, probably going back 25, 30 years, they decided that they wanted quality of life over money and security. Okay, so when I was in college, everybody wanted to either be a partner in an accounting firm or they wanted to own their own firm. Now people just want to be employees. They want to work 9 to 5 from Monday to Friday. They want to go skiing, and that's in New Jersey. I don't know about Florida. They want to go skiing on the weekends. They don't want to work, and that's their choice. Something that took me a while to get used to, but I understand it. So the bottom line is that nobody's forcing me to retire. Mm-hmm. Okay, so all my clients, a lot of them still work. They're in their 70s. They still work. Mm-hmm. As long as they're working, I'm working, which is okay. So that's why, the young people, most young people don't want to deal with an old guy like me. Okay, we have nothing in common, although I used to have something in common with them. I had kids at one time, but they have nowhere to go, so they have to deal with me.
What does it matter if they don't have anything in common with you? Because you're not there to play games with them. You're there to give them financial advice.
Yeah, but you know what? It's a personal thing. In a relationship with a CPA, it's always been with me. It's been a personal thing, a friendship thing, a trust thing. When things get heavy, you can talk about your kids, or football or something.
I see.
So, admittedly, my clients that have little babies today, I used to have little babies. It's been a while. I sometimes forget what it was like. And, but there's no really young people in my profession anymore. So I have to live forever.
No, you have to live
I have to
forever,
live
right?
forever.
Well, but there are people, of course, in the financial world. They're just
Sure.
not doing what you're doing. But there definitely are CPAs. I mean, I know lots of CPAs
there were CPAs,
around here.
but if you take a look around, you won't notice a lot of young ones. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the ones, that's right. These are the ones that have been a
Right.
CPA for a while and they're still doing
Sure.
it, right?
Right.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but someone had words for CPA. It wasn't certified public accountant, and I don't remember what it was, but it was kind of funny.
Well, there's cleaning, pressing, and alterations. Constant pain in the arse.
I knew there
there's
were
a
some
few
other.
of them. There's a
Right,
few
right.
of them.
You heard all those names too, right? Well, but listen, I know that you do so much good work, and it's so nice having you come in. I always laugh when you come in
It's
because
like the comedy hour.
yeah, it is a kind of a comedy hour, but it's fun, and that's why people listen. And you're good, and you're serious, but you make light of it, and I like that.
And make it fun.
Yeah, do make it fun. So, Mark, thank you very much for being here, and we'll close you off of Facebook Live, and
Thank you.
good luck, and we'll look for that next article. I can't wait to see what that says.
Thank you.